Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, iRacing fans from around the world, welcome to Slammin' Saturday, KMA Racing special event. This is KMA TV, and I am Scott Kulovic. Joining me in the booth is my good friend and co-announcer, Ronald Klein. How are we doing, Ronald?
Good, Scott. How are you?
I am hyped. I am stoked. I am ready to go. These drivers have been out here for the last 1 hour practicing. How do you think it's going to go down tonight at Talladega?
I think we're going to see some good racing. Going to obviously be very tight racing. Hopefully, the drivers will have shook the cars down, got a great feel for the cars, and be ready to go out there and run 100 laps of caution-free racing tonight. That's what I'm looking forward to.
266 miles on this 2.653 track. Great racing. A little bit overcast out there tonight. Track temp down at 75 degrees. 100 laps of Talladega. Got a lot of big hitters out here. Qualifying very important. We've got Gary Whitmer Jr. out there. We've got Lynn McNeese, Edward Bray, Everett in the house. Have you got a favorite driver early on?
Uh, it's always tough, but you got to go with Gary Whitmer or Edward Bray.
I would have to definitely concur on the Gary Whitmer and Edward Bray. Edward Bray, a complete powerhouse, but every powerhouse has to have a partner, and I expect Lee Staples, Everett Fastlane Racing, Harry Dodd, Kevin Scott Nelson to be up there in the front early on. Qualifying times are coming in. Ronald, can you take the pleasure of walking us through our qualifying field?
Absolutely, Scott. Looks like the number 15 truck of Sean Molchik putting out a qualifying time of 53.389 is going to sit on the pole. The Steel Fields going to be rolling off second with a qualifying time of 53.404. Travis Bauer going to be starting third on that inside lane with the 53.409. Richard Brose, going to be rolling off fourth with a time of 53.415. Edward Bray going to be rolling off fifth with the 53.429. Gary Whitmer Jr. going to be rolling off sixth with the 53.441. Len McNeese going to be rolling off seventh with the 53.443. Everett Fastlane is going to be rolling off eighth tonight with the 53.447. Lee Staples will be rolling off 10th with the 53.476. Harry Allen Stewart going to be rolling off 11th with a 53.502. Chris Hogue with a 53.571 going to be starting in the 12th position. Ed Hewitt in the number 30 will be rolling off 13th with the 53.576. And our last qualifier, Joel Guy, going to be rolling off 14th with the 54.089. Those are the cars that qualified. The cars that did not qualify: the 90 of Craig Kenny, 78 of Donald Stewart, the 27 of Harry Dodd, the 94 of Cole Palmer, the 004 of Michael Johnson, 18 of Greg Kelly, 24 of Kevin Scott Nelson. Now, there are a few cars that are in that lineup that won't be out there. Myself, I didn't mention those names, but we obviously won't be out there, even though we're showing in the grid. And a couple of drivers had to take it to the hauler early, and that's the field, Scott.
All righty, copy that. Great field out here tonight. High hopes out here. But it is Saturday night, and Saturday night's all right for fighting. Saturday night's all right for racing. All right, fans, we are going to be giving you some race trivia about Talladega tonight. I've got the bell. For whom will that bell toll tonight? Becky Whitmer doing a great job last night. Big shout out there to the fans on KMA TV. All right, Ronald, I'm going to give you the pleasure and walk us through this start.
Scott, the drivers are getting set here, probably making sure everything's in order. Not like in a real race car, you'd be making sure all your belts are tight and and your communications are, well, they'll be making sure their communications are good to go, but got the got themselves in the position they want to be in the seats, and getting ready to go green here.
Sean Molchik side by side by Estill Fields.
Getting ready for that pace car to duck on into pit road. As soon as that does happen, the number 15 of Sean Molchik has the option to take off from any point where that pace car is down past that yellow line, and until the green flag actually is displayed by the flag stand. He seems to be waiting a little longer than most people normally do. Green flag is out. Sounds like he waited for the green flag to actually come out. We're off and on our way. Looks like a pretty clean restart. We had one truck in the field. Must have missed the shift, as I will have to go back through.
Very good start, though. Inside, outside lane tonight will be the question. Very dependent upon who is pushing you. Taking a look at Richard Brose in the number 87 second truck on that inside lane. Behind the number 42 of Estill Fields, Edward Bray to his right. Travis Browder all over the rear end of the number 15. Tighter than a tick on a coon dog on that inside lane, but not looking very steady right now on lap 1.
Travis Browder looked like he might go outside and try to go ahead and jump up there and catch the outside lane and get going towards the front of the field here, deciding not to at the last minute. We spoke many races now, Scott, that I've been up here covering these super speedway races with you about that number 87 truck of Richard Brose and how good of a pusher he is. He seems to be able to push just about any truck up to the front there and get him in that position to drop down on the inside lane and become the leader, and never really has someone else behind him to push him up towards the front. Now tonight might be a little bit different. Gary Whitmer Jr. sitting right behind Richard Brose on that outside lane with Everett Fastlane right behind Gary. That's a potent combination that could possibly push the number 87 up in front of the number 42 of Estill Fields.
Estill Fields has come down in front of Sean Molchik, Richard Brose side by side. Estill Fields leading that lap. Outer lane, though, starting to form up. Edward Bray has abandoned that inner lane. Going to be side by side with Len McNeese in the Old Smoky 84, called my friend Snoopy. Now, we had talked about combinations, and right there behind Len McNeese in the Old Smoky creeps the number 64, Black Talon. You know he's trying to get to the rear end of Edward Bray.
Yes, at some point tonight, I definitely expect that to happen. I'm hoping that the RTK Motorsports trucks can hook up at some point tonight as well. This is one of those tracks where you really want your teammates with you, and when that happens, you definitely have a better shot at a win because your teammate can help. We don't talk a lot about blocking here, but your teammate can pull blocks for you. So it's definitely a track where if Lee and Edward get together, they're both going to push. You're going to get everything out of your teammate that you can possibly get, and then at the same time, coming to the finish line, you can sometimes use your teammate to help pull side draft or a block. So teammates are very important out here, and that's not just the sub teams. RTK Motorsports and Black Talon Racing, Kicking Asphalt. That goes for KMA as well. Just KMA teammates all towards the end.
But you brought up a very interesting point here. So we've already talked about KMA as a whole. All the drivers out here racing for a KMA. But of the sub teams, we've got 3 primary sub teams out here. We've got Black Talon, which is Edward Bray and Lee Staples. We have got RTK Motorsports, which consists of Gary Whitmer and the number 6 of Chris Hogue. But we've also got a smaller group representing Max Velocity, which is Travis Browder, Richard Brose, Ed Hewitt, and Michael Johnson. So as much importance as the big team is, there's going to be some sub-team action. But the way these guys are driving now, I think it could come down to early pits within team to team to team.
I agree, Scott. When you know, and when you have a larger team like KMA, you can generally count on anyone in KMA to line up with you throughout the race and try to help you. It's too early in the race right now for anybody to pull any drastic move and really push. Like let's say Everett Lane and Gary Whitmer. If Gary went to the outside, Everett may go with them, but at the same time, it's kind of too early in the race to pull that kind of move. So Everett's just gonna kind of ride back there, and if Gary can push Richard by the 42, great. If he goes the outside, you might just see Everett just kind of pull up behind Richard, and then Gary would be stuck on the outside. And then that's not necessarily because he doesn't look at him as a teammate because he's he's in RTK Motorsports. He just thinks, maybe now's not the right time.
Very interesting point right there, but now riddle me this, riddle me that. Now, within KMA, the team, we have got, the core. So let's take a driver out here like Steele Fields or Harry Dodd or Sean Molchek. They've been running with KMA for quite a while. But, again, if Edward is on Lee and if Richie's on Ed and Everett's on Gary, well, who is that going to leave for Kerry Allen Stewart, a newcomer to KMA Racing? So I don't know, but we have seen several times a newcomer and a solo driver take it home after 100 laps.
And that can indeed happen. And, sometimes it's through attrition. Some of the better trucks get taken out. Sometimes it's just positioning. And these guys, just because they're newcomers doesn't mean that they don't have the ability to go out there and put themselves in a position to win at the end. So, right now we can talk all we want about who's going to be up front at the end, but the truth is we really don't know. Lady Luck plays part of that, and the rest is kind of in the driver's hands. And unfortunately, at a track like this, if something happens in the front or the middle, the guys in the middle and the back they just don't have the ability to get woed up before getting into somebody else. Things happen so fast out here that honestly, you'd almost be better off just closing your eyes for a few seconds and hoping you make it.
We are riding up on the front hood of Steele Fields, our race leader in that Toyota Tundra, side by side with Chevy Silverado from Richard Brose, misbehaving on top of the hood of Steele Fields. I believe she may have been a movie star from yesteryear gone. Very nice looking paint job, Richard Brose, I believe done by Over the Top Paints and Designs, along with a purple pad by Gary Whitmer. And that's another very fun aspect, not only for the drivers but for the announcers and for the painters. We get to get up here and enjoy a great race with great paint jobs. The painters, Geary Head Paint Shop, Over the Top Paints and Designs, put a lot of pride in these paint jobs.
Absolutely, Scott. And and then you've got your solo painters, so to speak. I know Everett Lane does some painting. I know Edward Bray does some painting. I think for the most part right now his vehicles are being painted by Gearhead Paint Shop, and then Chris Hoag's been doing some painting. So it's not just the big shops doing the paint jobs. Sometimes it's just some of these guys are doing it all on their own. So big shout out to everybody who paints, whether it's the big shops or whether it's just the individual who's driving that truck.
Taking a look at the number 6 of Chris Hoag, messaging me today telling me that he was feeling in kind of a yellow mood. Looking very sharp out there in the yellow. Number 6 RTK Motorsports Chevy Silverado back in the rear of the field, 0.7 off of our race leader.
Looks to me like the field was pretty satisfactory with just kind of riding around here. I do believe that Gary Whitmer wants to get the 87 out in front and probably cool that truck off a little bit, but Sean Molchik is going to have none of that. He keeps pushing on to Steele Fields, keeping that outside lane from advancing forward. So I think as it stands right now, the drivers are just going to have to be patient, keep their lines, Don't overheat the trucks. Log some laps. Wait for this green flag pit stop to come around here and go 18 or so laps, and let the field kind of change through that.
Take a look at the number 5 of Gary Whitmer showing his support for PAD. 1 week from tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, on August 6th, the first Sunday of the month, we're going to be doing our monthly race for PAD awareness. Now, I seriously thought about delaying this race one more time because Sharknado 5, Ron. I'm a Sharknado hound. But to tell you what, you know, we got a thing called DVR, and educating our race fans and our drivers about PAD much more important than a television. In fact, television, one of those many ways, I'm not all for that television in the back of the van kind of stuff. It's just another form of a way to cause distracted driving, I think.
There are multiple forms of distracted driving. Definitely not just limited to cell phones. Anything that takes your eyes and your mind off the road. And I agree with you 100%. Very important to continue to get that message out there and get people to really understand that in a matter of the time that it takes to look down and read a text, just the average text message, just a few words, you can travel the length of a football field, and you know, you can cross a lane, you could pass the white line, hit a barrier, some child could be out playing. There's just so many things that can happen, and
We're going to be 3 wide.
I know this sounds bad, but we really need to get people to understand that.
3 wide with lap traffic. Lap traffic going high. Lap traffic, Joel Guy. Lap traffic going high. Thank you, Joel Guy. What a nice guy. Always gets a little scary out here with that 3 wide. Joel Guy falling off that pack early on, falling to 1 lap down. Going to try to grab onto the rear end of Chris Hogue. Not going to be able to happen, though. But the rule is slower traffic, go high, Joel Guy. Following those rules. What a guy. Now, I hear you got some sort of a trivia thing. Becky Whitmer getting back after doing 20 courts. Wow, first picking. Well, I saw a groundhog taking off with one of my tomatoes, I'll tell you what. So we're going to blame the groundhog. All right, talk to us now that Becky's back about a little trivia, Ron.
About a little trivia. Here we go. So, the first person to top 200 miles per hour, because we talked about this pre-race, and I actually found it. Who was the first driver to drive a stock car on a closed course at more than 200 miles per hour? Throw that up there in the KMA TV chat if you think you know it, and we'll get back to you if you do, if you are correct.
Now, I don't know the answer to this, I'll be honest with you, but we did learn last night that from the opening of Indianapolis in 1909 to 2016, the top speeds did achieve 196 miles per hour. So we have to think about that date frame, I'm thinking. So I'd be looking at a driver somewhere after 2000, I would think. We obviously know it wasn't a driver from the 70s. Stephen Holmes out there on that KMA chat. Early guest with Buddy Baker. Wanted to give a shout out to his Gen X Racing teammate in race, Kerry Allen Stewart. Kerry Allen Stewart right now sitting in 12th position. Well, hello, Steve.
If you've got your bell, go ahead.
Was he right with Buddy Baker?
Buddy Baker is correct in 1970.
Oh, and I was wrong. I was thinking it would be after 2000.
In 1970, Buddy Baker turned a lap of 200.447 miles per hour in a Dodge Daytona.
Very nice. In a Dodge, even.
In a Dodge.
I like Dodges.
All right, Scott. So we are on lap 18. Since we got a good field, since we got a lot of cars, I'm going to do it now.
Okay.
For you guys out there on the KMA TV chat, this is the first time I'm going to offer this up. We have KMA Racing, and well, they're not. It says KMA Racing and KMA TV just under it. T-shirts. I am going to give one of those away tonight. If you can pick the correct driver that it will win this race by lap. What do you think, Scott? Lap 50?
I would like to see 60 because 60 is about that double pit stop window and things are a little bit more secure. But you're giving the T-shirts.
Okay, we'll do 60. We'll do 60.
All right, so whoever picks the winner by lap 60 will receive a brand spanking new KMA TV RTK Motorsports KMA Racing T-shirt. Very nice.
And obviously only one person can pick the winner, so it'll be first come, first serve. If you pick the car, he is no longer eligible. Scott, just for fun, you and I can play the game. I'm going to go with Gary Whitmer Jr. tonight.
I would have to go with Edward, but now we're doing it for fun, so can another fan coincide with us as well?
Yes. Yes.
All right, so Edward...
That's why I said for you and I, we're just doing it for fun. So Gary and Edward are both available to the fans.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll remind you about that every few laps. We're going to take a quick look at our current running order. Gary Whitmer Jr. out there in front. We've got Everett Lane, Richard Brose, Edward Bray. Caution will be out.
We got a caution. We got a caution.
Well, that'll change everything. All right, we're looking at it up there from the chopper. Oh, and clear as day. Unfortunately, we're looking at Gary Whitmer Jr. coming down, and he's free and clear. Everett Lane wanting to come down last minute, seeing the number 87 there, but then the 87 takes a right-hand turn. Oh, my goodness, a little bit of merge there with the number 66. They were inside of one another. I'm thinking net code, Ronald. We're going to back it up, take one more look at it from Chase.
I think you may be correct, Scott. I watched it from the rear. Now I'm going to watch it from the front.
It was almost like the number 87 was literally sucked up half a lane into that of Edward Bray.
Yes, indeed. Not sure exactly what happened there. I'm about to jump forward to Everett Lane and take a look at his truck. See if there is any damage on the left rear of that truck. I do not see a scratch on it. Now, obviously, I can't go look at Richard Brose because he unfortunately took it directly to the hauler.
Well, fortunately, there were only two drivers involved in that, Richard Brose and Edward Bray, all drivers heading down pit row.
Actually, unfortunately, there was a couple other drivers.
Was there?
Got caught up in that.
Keeping an eye on Gary Whitmer and Everett Lane heading it down pit row. Gary Whitmer Sr. rooting for Gary Jr., Edward Bray being rooted on by Becky Whitmer. We know Steven is rooting on Carrie, I'm pretty sure. First caution coming out on lap 22. Pretty good run, though.
Yes, it was a very good run. It did look like a net code. Not hearing anything tonight because I think second radio was off. I'm actually going to turn that on now. But not hearing, not seeing or understanding exactly why the net code occurred. I would have to believe that it was a net code issue, but didn't see a reason why.
Well, we can always ask a drive. We're going to get Everett down here, and I'll let you converse with Everett and try to figure that out. How about it, Everett?
Everett Lane, this is Ronald Klein. You got a copy?
Hey guys, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. Unfortunately, we just had our first caution of the evening come out. From what we can see and understand, a possible netcode issue just happened, maybe?
I was wondering that. I was trying to get some information from the guys that were riding behind Richard there to see what happened. I wouldn't know if I came down or he came up or something, but unfortunately, we got our first caution out there. Kind of came at a not a good time, but a bad time. We were all thinking about getting some green flag pitch there, but didn't happen.
Yeah, we were watching the replay, and I actually have it pulled back up right now once again, and it did look like you came down just ever so slightly, but not far enough to actually make contact, and it looks like you kind of understood, or maybe your spotter told you, and then it looked like Richard Rose just kind of snapped to the right after that, so that's why Scott and I were thinking maybe it was netcode, so weren't sure, wondered what your perspective was.
Yeah, it's kind of what I felt. I wasn't sure if I had caused it or what. I'm sure I had a little to do with it. I was trying to push Gary up there to the front, and I seen him going down, and you get that instinct to follow a little bit. Then you got to remember, well, there's another truck down there, so don't go down too far. But unfortunately, we got a caution there, and we'll get back to some good green flag racing here. It's been a good race so far. I've been pretty patient with everybody, and looks like we're going to have a good night out here.
Copy that. That's all I've got for him. Scott, you got anything?
All right, good luck to you, Everett Lane.
Thank you, Scott. You guys do a good job up there. Keep up the good work over here at KMA.
Thank you, sir. I do want to get one more driver interview in with my very good friend Lynn. We don't get to talk to Lynn a whole lot. Well, how you doing there, Snoopy?
Doing good tonight, Scott. How are you doing?
All right, happy to be here. Hey, talk to me about your night so far. 23 laps in, nice little run right there.
Yeah, we had a good run going. I hate to see a caution come out. I thought we was going to make some fuel mileage runs there.
All right, how are the guys treating you? You guys really seem to be bunched up for a very long time. No three-wide action. Is everybody getting along and communicating?
I think right now it's still early. Everybody's getting along, communicating, just trying to log a few laps in, seeing how everything's going to fill out and get ready for the last shootout.
All righty, and talk to me a little bit about the old Smoky Tennessee Moonshine number 84.
Oh, yeah, we got to enjoy some old Smoky Moonshine after the race now.
All right, do you know who painted that truck?
No, sir, I do not.
All righty, well, you're looking very good out there in the number 84. Good luck to you there, Snoopy.
We appreciate this, Scott.
Well, so far, so good, Ronald, as Michael Johnson ducks into pit row one more time underneath our final caution lap. Lap 23 of 100, taking a look at our KMA Racing TV lap summary. 12 lead changes, 23 laps in.
That's quite a few lead changes for just a few laps. I guess it's not just a few laps, but the amount of laps that we've run.
Still Fields has led 12, and Richard Brose has led 7. But now Richard Brose is going to be 3 laps down. Michael Johnson leading 1, Everett Lane leading 2, and Gary Whitmer leading 2 laps. Big shout out there, too. Mom and Dad Whitmer on that KMA Racing TV chat. Everett Lane, our first leader underneath our first restart.
Like we're double file here on the back stretch, Scott. We're going to be going back to green here. So the drivers got what they needed in pit road. Take note, we're on lap 25, so we are not going to be able to make it. We'll still be under that same, it's the same strategy. We'll still have to pit twice more, so this doesn't change anything.
All right, Rod, we are going to go in truck with Lynn McNeese down on that inside lane talk us through this restart. And what I want to know about is a checking up. Where do you lay that hammer down? You got guys crawling up your rear end, but you can't run over the number 5. You have to follow the rules about staying down and staying within your lane till you're around turn 2.
Big thing here is it is not as important, especially when you're in the middle. You don't have to have the restart of your life. You just want to stay close to the truck in front of you. You don't need to be right on his bumper. Gonna wait until he hears or sees the truck go in front of him. The truck is going. You can hear he slowly got down on the throttle, bringing it up through the gears. He's accelerating faster than the truck in front of him. He's gonna, at some point, you heard it right there. He burped the throttle just a little bit. He's feathering it, just shifted, bringing it up to speed. That inside lane starting to gain a little bit of energy. These engines take almost a full lap and a half to get them up to full song to where they'll actually run, where they're actually getting up into the full speed that they can, upwards of 195, 198 miles an hour.
Now, something I find really interesting here, Ronald, when we're in car, and we're going to stay in car with a couple of drivers, they look a lot tighter, a lot less room from in car, but when we bounce up there to that chopper mode or that blimp mode, it's like you got a mile of space right there.
It certainly feels that way when you're in the car. It feels like you have no room to wiggle front to back or side to side, so to speak. You got the yellow line below you. You can't pass below the yellow line, so that's kind of the out of bounds. And then you can see there's a couple feet between the trucks as we ride along with one. You can see that there's a few feet between the number 5 and the 15, but boy, when things start to heat up later, when you're in that car and you don't need to look to the right because you can hear that engine of that truck and you can hear the wind chain, no better than to let the truck slip up, because if you do, you're going to get into an accident. You don't even have to look to the right, you just hear it.
We lined them up one time across this track, and you can fit 5 of these Silverados and Tundras side by side, but oftentimes there's problems going 3 wide.
Yeah, the simulator racing is not maybe not quite as good as NASCAR live drivers. You don't have the ability to move your head to the right, to the left, and see how close you are to the guy beside you. There's just a difference when you're in the race car. I promise you could hold the line a lot better than if you're in a real race car versus in the simulator.
Well, and that brings up all the options, and this is more triggered for Gary Whitmer Sr. We've got drivers out here that actually run the Oculus. Drivers like myself run 3 monitors. Paul Pellizier runs 7 monitors. And we've got drivers that run on 2 monitors, which is extremely hard. And a lot of drivers are down to 1 monitor. But honestly, the more monitors you have, well, I've never tried 5. I'm happy with 3, but I've always wanted to try 5. But Paul swears 5's the way to go.
I think it's really just if you can get the full field of view, and with 5 monitors, I think he feels like he gets a truer feel of the actual car and the field of view, how it's displayed in reality. But like I have the 3 monitor setup. I use 3 32-inch monitors, and my monitor that I use for the front monitor sits I'd say about 2 feet from my face as I sit here right now. Probably about 2 feet from my face, and then the side monitors are angled slightly, and I get about 178 degrees field of view.
Nice. Now, while we're talking about this, our good friend Edward Bray, he actually races on the Oculus Rift. He's got a, I believe it's a PlayStation butt kicker, which means he can feel all the bumps, and he's got the back speakers. Very nice setup, but his field of view is a 60-inch flat screen television. Now imagine having 3 of those. He has 1, but 3 of those, that would be the way to go.
It'd be pretty impressive if you actually sat down in a simulator and raced that way. But with the Oculus, he doesn't need that. He has probably total range on that Oculus. If you're just sitting and you can't really turn around, it's going to be a lot more than 300 or 180 degrees. He probably gets, I wouldn't even know, well over 200 degrees. So he can see further to the right and to the rear of the car, and further to the left and the rear of the car than we can.
Well, what really amazes me, Ron, I've only been online racing for about 5 years. I started back in the days of Project Torque. Me and Abe Bowden have actually been together since I started this. But what really has come to amaze me, including myself, is the amount of real-life financial, it's almost a responsibility that we put on ourselves. And I know Gary Whitmer Sr. has been building his setup. And it's not a matter of just hooking up your laptop and putting on a wheel. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking guys that have actually invested hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. And when these drivers get into their rigs, because it is not a game, it is a simulator. Ronald, you know what I'm talking about.
I do. Like the PC that you're using now, with the retail price of the video card that's in that computer, that computer probably costs between what I put into it and that card, the retail price on that card, I'd say there's probably about $1,200 to $1,300 worth of computer there. And then whether you're a monitor guy or an Oculus guy, right now they're offering the Oculus for like $400, I guess. So, you got close to $1,500 or more there, and then you got to buy the wheel. And most drivers are using the Logitech wheels. Those run in the $300 to $400 range, and there are some guys that have wheels that cost in excess of $1,000. So you're absolutely right. It can get very costly. Some of the newer video cards, if you want to turn the graphics up as high as you possibly can, the graphics card will cost you almost $800 by itself. So,
and talking about cost, there is something else out here that you just cannot put a cost on. For us guys, like myself and you, Ron, and Edward, there's days we spend more time with one another than we do with our real-life families, and we have developed real-life friendships. I recently met you and Edward. Edward drove from South Carolina. I drove from Illinois. We rendezvoused down in Illinois. One of our fans has informed me that in October they're going to be in my area, and they're coming out of Virginia. Cody's just a few hundred miles. We're going to meet one day. And that there, just again, with the financial cost, with the friendships that are formed, ladies and gentlemen, this is NASCAR. This is iRacing.
You're absolutely correct, Scott. It's changing. I've played online games before, and I've had online friends, but this is a little bit different because we're a little more involved with each other than in other forms of these games. Like you said, this is more than a game. This is simulated racing. So,
taking a quick look at our running order, Sean Molchek leading his 6th lap. Everett Lane in 2nd position has led 7. Gary Whitmer Jr. very solid 3rd place, leading 2. Len McNeese sitting in 4th. Chris Hogue up to 5th place. I know you're a proud papa right there. Ed Hewitt in 6th. Still Fields in 7th, and Kevin Scott Nelson in 8th. Edward Bray Kerry Stewart bringing out 9th and 10th. Michael Johnson in 15th, 25 seconds back though. Looks like Richard Brose, Craig Kenny, Donald Stewart, possibly out for the night.
As we see Gary Whitmer Jr. jumped that outside lane. They saw that lane coming. Gary Whitmer Jr. and Len McNeese jumped up top, and they're gonna challenge for those front couple of positions here. Field's kind of tightening up. It had gone single file, and I thought maybe we were going to run single file for a little bit, but the cars kind of gathered it up from the back and got a good run, and we're back to double file racing again.
And there is still 15, 16 drivers. We're going to bounce it up to Chopper View and get a view of how big this pack is, but hanging off that rear end is Harry Dodd. Talk to us about the danger that Harry Dodd is in right now. He has not got a pusher. He does not want to lose the rear end of Joel Guy.
No, he does not. And if I was in his position, I'd be changing lanes, getting behind Joel Guy.
Well, there he goes. There he goes. He's got that run.
It looks like the pack actually kind of slowed up a little bit, and he was able to catch him. You don't want to get into that situation again, though, because you may not be so lucky. A lot of times when you get that far back, you can't make up that time, and you can't catch the field, and they'll slowly just walk away.
Gary Whitmer down on that inside lane. I tell you what, Ron, you cannot miss that bright purple pad truck up here from Blit Mode. That'll put Gary Whitmer leading 3 laps out tonight. Getting a big push from the number 15 of Sean Molchek. Sean Molchek to that outside, and that's going to bring up Everett. That'll put Len McNeese on that outside. Go, Snoopy, go.
Yeah, Sean Molchek making a signature move. The outside lane, front car got pushed by him, and that outside line kind of broke up a little bit. There was an opening for him to jump up, just like what we were seeing right now. Everett Lane just did a classic move. He moved up because there was nobody up there. That outside lane had momentum coming, rocketing to the front. Looks like he's
going to take Sean with him.
Yeah, looks like Everett and Sean are trying to work together to stay together, and both move down, but I don't think it's going to happen.
They're not going to get both of those trucks. I think if I was Everett right now, I would tell Sean I'm heading on back down. That gap's closed up. Too late. He missed that window as Gary Whitmer closes that inside door. Yeah, Becky Whitmer telling me, hey, Scott, if GW wins, she gets a shirt. Nice. If GW wins, he may come down, give you a dinner. And there goes Everett Lane to that inside. I told you, Ron, right there. But that might to have been done to relieve the pressure off of that thermostat in that number 15.
Yes. Gary Whitmer Jr. was thinking about moving up and decided not to. That's the move that he needed to make. In the future, he'll need to make sure that he makes those moves, because that would have put him back up front again.
Quick question for our fans out there, just for fun, no pressure. But we know that RTK Motorsports has taken over our Thursday Night Thunder here with KMA Racing as a sponsor. Thank you, sir. As well as re-implementing our Wicked Wednesday. But hey, fans, we've got 3 other sponsors. We've got a Monday, we've got a Tuesday, and we've got a Friday night sponsor. Can you tell us who our 3 primary, well, you're a primary as well. Can you tell us who our 3 of the 4 sponsors are? RTK is one, but who is our Monday, Tuesday, and Friday night sponsor? We're going to see if our fans are out there paying attention night to night. Very impressed with Chris Hogue tonight, Ron.
I am as well, Scott. I'm curious as to why Gary Whitmer is not jumping to that outside lane when the run comes, though.
I'm thinking patience.
Patience is part of it, but pushing on a truck is a lot harder than being pushed. So he has the opportunity to jump to that outside lane here when the 15, the 84 and the 15 get back together. They're going to have a run. They're going to come through the middle of the corner here and probably be up with them on the backstretch. Gary Whitmer could easily jump up to that outside lane and let Sean push him, to the front. There goes Chris Hogue. So Chris Hogue makes the move this time instead of Gary Whitmer, which is kind of shocking because you don't see Chris Hogue making these kind of moves.
And we've got a winner. Becky Whitmer, GW Graphics, Pro Automotive, and Blaze Pizza. Good job. Becky, I think, is possibly our biggest fan, Ron.
I think so.
Outside lane falling apart. Only 3 trucks in that outside lane, and one of them is a solo. So right now, Ron, wow, they've been running for a while. 22 laps. Talk to us about, even though it is a simulator, we've established that, but talk to us about the physical driver wear and tear on these long haul runs.
That's why I said I was kind of shocked that Gary Whitmer didn't jump to the outside, because being that driver behind the car in front of you, when you're up front, you're white knuckling it. If you want to push that truck up to the front, you're going to have to push. You got to be careful. Like Sean Molchik is being very patient right now and being very careful. Chris Hogue is not holding the best line. He's not being very smooth. Be very, very smooth with his wheel movements, because Sean's going to try to push him and get him down in front of that number 24. And as he pushes him past, he does move down. Now Sean can breathe a little bit. He doesn't have to worry about hitting him square. Now all he has to do is look in the mirrors or look at his relatives, see who's behind him, and say, okay, can I trust this person to push me? Am I going to be okay? And he's got Travis Browder pushing on him, so we're about to go 3 wide.
3 wide with lap traffic of Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson following those rules, staying high, 3 wide with Kevin Scott.
So back to fatigue. Chris Hogue is probably fatiguing right now. He's probably white knuckling, even though he's been doing sim racing for a while. He's up in front. He doesn't want to make a mistake. Sean Molchik is probably nice and relaxed. He's just riding around there. Everett Lane, he's a cool customer. He's done this a lot. He probably is not white knuckling. If it were me, I would be, because I'm so worried about bumper hooking somebody. That's why I said I would be shocked that Gary wouldn't jump to the outside when he had the opportunity. The rest of these drivers, they're not white knuckling, but sometimes you don't realize it, and you're gripping that steering wheel and you're tensed up. Down these straightaways, you gotta tell yourself to, kind of relax, let your arms go, and kind of just let it all kind of slow down.
Travis Browder announced advancing his position up there to position 3. Travis has been kind of quiet.
Green flag pit stops. Green flag pit stops.
Who we got going in?
66 and 64 for sure, Scott. Not sure who else.
All right, guys, 66 on my sights into pit row.
Not a lot of trucks went, Scott. That's kind of surprising. As we're on track, we got a little bit of contact between, looks like the 6 and the 42, but no caution, no real damage, just a little bump kind of got a little squirrely, got it back under control.
All right, we are back with those race leaders. Now, I had mentioned to you earlier, we were talking about the teams. So Edward Bray, Lynn McNeese going in.
Got some more takers coming to pit road, Scott. I just heard the 6th call that he's coming into pit road.
Got him on camera. Got him on camera. Ooh,
6
but
will
he's
be
going
pitting
solo.
by himself. No one came with him.
Oh, that's going to hurt. But we did see Edward Bray and Lee Staples as a team go in, but there's only 2 of them. Well, that brings up a whole
Don
new...
Bolchek is out there leading that train on the inside. Travis Browder pushing on the back of his bumper as they come up and pass the car coming out of pit road on the back stretch. Joel Guy.
Joel Guy.
Everett Lane fits in 3rd currently. Gary Whitmer Jr. 4th. Should be seeing some more pit stops here shortly.
Straight line formation, but back to Edward and Lee. There's only 2 of them. Thought the 24 was going to pit in, but with 2 drivers, they're going to be a lot slower than 4 or 5.
This time, nobody taking pit road yet.
Gotta love those green flag pit stops, but Edward and Lee pitting in, they're going to be only 2. We need more than 2.
I'm kind of surprised at how the pit strategy is going right now. Edward and Lee were the only 2.
84 is below that yellow line.
Yep, they checked up. I heard it over the radio. Everybody understood what was going on, that we're going to be okay.
At the halfway point, lap 50. Straight line formation, Sean Molchik, Travis Browder, Everett Lane, Gary Whitmer, Lynn McNeese. Here comes Ed Hewitt, going to double foul it, but 42 not going with them, leaving the number 30 on that outside lane.
That tells me that the possibility of a pit stop might be coming this lap. Didn't want to go up top. So let's see if I might have guessed that one correctly. See if the 42 is going to go down into pit lane this time, as they're passing the 6 of Chris Hogue, who just pitted.
But 6 is going to have some help in front of him. They're with the number 91.
Yes, this will give Chris Hogue a chance. Yes,
pit stops. A lot of pit stops.
Going in hot.
A lot of pit stops right here. 42, 24, 51, 15.
Is that they get straightened out?
Well, I'm looking at Everett Lane, double foul.
I'm looking at Kerry Allen Stewart. He spun entering pit lane, but he got it going. Didn't bring out a caution.
Alrighty, good deal. Sean Molchek, our pole sitter tonight, taking rights and out of pit row very smoothly. 42, hot on his heels. Everett Lane, race out of pit row with the 51. Got to stay below that yellow line, gentlemen. They are nose to tail coming out of pit row. That's the way you do it.
Yeah, I was watching that replay again and again. It just looked like Kerry Allen Stewart might have just been carrying a little too much speed. Got himself into a little bit of trouble there.
Gary Whitmer Jr., our current race leader, in pit row with the number 84, Lynn McNeese, Little Smoky. So Gary and the number 84, Lynn, going to line them up, be working together for the rest of the night. Right side only as they pull out, no penalty. In, no penalty out. Good job, Gary Whitmer, Lynn McNeese, and they are nose to tail coming out of pit row.
And this is a 4-car train, so this will help. Kevin Scott Nelson and Ed Hewitt are right there. A little bit of a gap, but
about a 1 second gap is what they're looking at. But that freight train of that 4-car pack with Sean Everett go blaring by. Travis and Estill.
Len's going to have to be pushing pretty hard on Gary here to keep them with the chance to catch that pack. That 4-car pack breakaway in front of them. Kevin Scott Nelson and Ed Hewitt are coming.
They got to get hooked up fast.
They do need to get hooked up very quickly, and they need to go as quickly as possible. They're going to have, Len really needs to get to the back bumper of Gary Whitmer Jr. and push for everything that he's got, because if they do not do it right now, they will slowly but surely lose that front pack.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a very quick commercial break. We're going to make you hungry and tell you where to get your vehicle fixed, and we'll be right back in 60. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a quick look at our running order out here, Ron, out there in first place. We do have Sean Molchek, Travis Browder, Everett Lane, the Still Fields, Gary Whitmer Jr., Lynn McNeese, Kevin Scott Nelson, Lee Staples, 7 seconds back, Edward Bray, and Harry Dodd in 10th, 17 seconds back.
And Gary Whitmer Jr. and Len McNeese were able to catch this pack. Not sure what's happening with Kevin Scott Nelson right now. He is falling off the back of Len McNeese. Not an optimal situation. He may end up losing the draft here. I hope not, but oh boy.
That's not going to be good for Kevin Scott Nelson, and they are approaching lap traffic. But that lap traffic could come into play for Kevin.
It could help him out. He could go up there and pick him up.
That would be the lap traffic of Michael Johnson. Kevin's going to really need Michael Johnson's help right now on lap 57. Kevin Scott pulling past Michael Johnson. Doesn't look like there's going to be a lot of teamwork there. Michael Johnson now trying to grab onto the rear end of Kevin. But we've got 6 trucks up in this front lead lap. Sean, Travis, Gary, Everett, Lynn, and a Steele.
And unfortunately, the pit stop strategy that Edward Bray and Lee Staples not typical tonight. Not something we're used to seeing. Not sure if there was some miscommunication or what exactly happened. Unless maybe somebody pitted early and didn't pit late or during that caution or something. I'm not sure, but not typical to see Lee Staples and Edward Bray pitting by themselves. And now they're unfortunately paying the consequences for doing that. They have fallen 11 seconds back of the lead 6 here, Scott.
Well, they have got Ed Hewitt. Now, Ed Hewitt is 1 lap down. Now, we talked about, let's talk about those numbers. 2 are safe, 3 is safe, but the primary speed is like 7 or up. So even though they've got Ed, Lee and Edward possibly not in a good spot.
No, at this point, really not in a good spot. This is, as of right now, this is a 6-car battle. Kevin Scott Nelson will slowly but surely fall back to Lee Staples and Edward Bray.
He's getting a little bit of help from Michael Johnson now. They are finally connecting. They are in Kevin's in
But-
7th.
But they will continue to fall back slowly but surely to Edward Bray. Now, if that does happen, and Edward Bray and Lee Staples can get, say, a 4-car group going, then they have a shot. They've got 3 cars right now. If they get up there towards Michael Johnson and Kevin Scott Nelson, as I look at the speed differential right now, the last lap, Michael Johnson ran a 51.060. Ed Hewitt, Edward Bray, Lee Staples, they ran a 49.6. So 4/10 of a lap difference. It's going to take a few laps, but they're going to catch them at that kind of speed differential.
Well, and they've still got one more round of pit stops to go. So I think Edward and Lee will probably be running that tank dry and hoping for an early pit that Sean and Travis might miscalculate. And we've seen it happen here before.
Yes, but the leaders, now going back to what we were talking about, the leaders are running 49.2 second lap times. Edward Bray and Lee Staples are running 49.6, and Kevin Scott Nelson and company and his dance partner, I'm sorry, I don't have my camera on him right now, but
50.649.
they're running 50s. So they're slowly going to fall back to Lee Staples, Edward Bray, and Ed Hewitt, and maybe once they all get together, then they might be able to run the 49.2 second lap times that the leaders are running, but they won't be able to make up any time. They'll probably run the same lap times, but they won't be able to make up time on the leaders, and they're going to be, I'm going to say, close to 16 to 18 seconds back. So right now, if we stay caution free, you're looking at a 6-car battle for the win.
Becky Whitmer on that KMA TV chat talking about how she'll take a caution. No, Becky, no, because Gary Whitmer is leading lap 62 on that outside lane, hooked up with Len McNeese side by side with Sean. So, Ron, at this point in time, we've got 37 to go. We're really not going to see these top 6 racing hard because the last thing that they want right now is a caution. They don't want to wreck one another. They're going to stay double file, very patient, very calm. 37 to go, probably for about another 34 laps, I would reckon.
I want to agree with you, but they will get a little bit racy. Maybe not too much, but they will get a little bit racy. But I agree. They don't want to see a caution come out. I don't think that they'll push the issue to a point where there is, but there could always be that mistake. Just like Len McNeese is pushing on the 5 a little bit because he got a good run. One wrong move there, it could potentially bring out the caution. But I agree with you. I don't think it's going to come from these guys. I think it's going to come from further back in the pack, where these guys are really going to have to push, and I mean push as hard as they possibly can to try to do something to catch these leaders. So once you get Lee Staples, Edward Bray, Ed Hewitt, Michael Johnson, Kevin Scott Nelson all in one group, and you get 5 cars there may be a possibility there where somebody bumper hook somebody trying to push as hard as they can to try to catch the leaders.
Taking a look at our race summary, Sean Molchuk up on our leaderboard. Laps completed is 65 of 100. Lead changes 25, 1 caution, totaling 2 laps. We usually call this Slammin' Saturday, but tonight it's been safe Saturday, I tell you what. Driver's doing an awesome job tonight.
Yes, indeed, Scott. Just the one caution, and like we said earlier, we believe that it was partially due to netcode. So, like I said, just before we went green flag. We were hoping for a green flag race, and looks like we're possibly going to get it. With the exception of that one random caution that
Very
again,
wide.
I'm going to call it net code because it just did not. They didn't touch. So
We're going to be pretty wide with lap traffic. Lap traffic going up to that high side. Thank you, driver. I believe that would be Harry Dodd as the lap traffic.
yes, sir, it is.
Actually, he's not lapped yet. Now he's lap traffic as the leader does race around Harry Dodd. Contact! Caution will not fly, but we were right there with Everett. All right, we're still caution free, but I'm going to back that up, take a look at what happened. All right, we are still live, ladies and gentlemen, but I am backing it up. And what happened is oh my goodness, I think the 27 may have tried to come down onto the 84's draft, nicking the 84, sending the 84 into the 24. You look at it a little slower here. When I get back to the leaders,
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
27 nicked the 84, sending the 84 into the 24, and the 24 back up into the 40. Well, there's a lot of fours right there, I tell you what. But no caution will fly, and Sean Molchek, Travis Browder, Gary Whitmer, and 3 were left.
Now this changes things, Scott, because now you've got the cars that were involved in that incident. I heard the 84 calling that he was going to pit road. Everett Lane has fallen off the pace. He is, as I jumped up to Gary Whitmer. When I jumped back to the next car, that's Kerry Allen Stewart, then Scott Nelson, then Michael Johnson, then Lee Staples, Edward Bray, and Ed Hewitt. So I'm not seeing.
Wow, that is made the changes. All right, what we got is we sort this out. We've got Sean, Travis, Gary, locked and loaded, sitting on lap 69 of 100. 14 seconds back.
Sorry, I caught what was going on. The Steel Fields, Everett Lane, and Len McNeese all just pitted. Now they are going to have to either hope for a caution or pedal it to make it to the end, but they have potentially just made their last green flag pit stop. They took that incident that kind of messed things up and pitted.
But they're 44 seconds back. I understand what they're trying to do. They're all clean. They have got to let the 42 catch up. But I don't know. 44 seconds back. I don't know.
No, and I agree with you. I'm just telling you that they will more than likely try to stretch this. Now they're not going to be in any position to win the race.
Well, Sean and Travis
barring
and Gary
caution.
could still get a penalty.
It's possible, but what has happened now is Kevin Scott Nelson, Lee Staples, and Edward Bray have hooked up with Harry Allen Stewart and Michael Johnson. So that is now a 5-car pack. They could, being the operative word here, they could potentially run down the leaders because they now have 5 cars versus just those 3.
Alrighty, lap 71 of 100. Have you got one more trivia question out there?
Just here in 51 is going to be pitting. But yes, let me look for a trivia question.
As we got cameras on, Travis Browder in the number 51. He is in second place, talking like he's going to go into pit row. And indeed, We got cameras in car with the 51 and the number 15. Sean Molchek, our race leaders, going into pit row on lap 71. I do want to give a big shout out there to Becky Whitmer. Yes, I like my bell, and I like to ring my bell. I believe that was a song back in disco days. You can ring my bell. So I want to give a big shout out there to the fans for, again, seriously, real life, getting involved. We love our fan involvement. Travis Browder taking no tires with 28 to go, heading out of pit row, but that'll advance Kevin Scott Nelson and Lee Staples, our race leaders, with 28 to go.
Alrighty, here we go. Since it opened in 1969, Talladega has produced how many first-time NASCAR Premier Series winners?
NASCAR Premier Series winners.
So, yep, there's been X amount of drivers that have won for the first time at Talladega.
So their first win has come at Talladega.
Yes.
Ooh, that's hard to do. That is very hard to do. Because I do see a trend out here, even within iRacing, there are certain drivers that seem to habitually get up there to the front. Lee Staples, Edward Bray, Travis Browder, Kevin Scott Nelson. Donald Stewart's won a few. That is hard to win your opening debut at Talladega. Or to catch your first win at Talladega. Usually it's at Las Vegas or even Bristol. But taking a win at Talladega, that has got to be the toughest track to win at.
I'm really interested to see how this all works out here in the end, Scott. Just 3 cars up there. Now the leaders, the current leaders have not pitted yet. Lee Staples and Edward Bray, along with Kevin Scott Nelson. But they have not pitted yet.
And what's interesting right here is Lee, Edward, and Kevin, they're the only, I mean, there's a bunch of drivers right here, but just those 3 are actually on that lead lap. So it'll also be interesting to see if the lap drivers stay with the lead lap drivers to give them that extra boost.
I gotta agree with you. I'm interested to see how it all pans out here, and watching the 64 and the 66, not looking like they're going to pit this lap. They are on the outside lane. That tells me that more than likely they will not be pitting this lap. Trying to watch the lap times here a little bit and see if that second group of Everett Lane, Len McNeese, Phil Fields are catching or losing ground.
Lap 76 of 124 to go. Talk to us a little bit about next week. We're going to be heading off for Charlotte, as the rumor does tell.
Yeah, rumor has it we are going to Charlotte, so should be a good time there. Been some good races there in the past. Hopefully we'll have everybody will get their setups done up well for Monday and Friday night. Of course, Tuesday night is our fixed series, and it sounds like iRacing has recently fixed the issue with fixed setups, so we should be able to run fixed setups in that series now, and looking forward to going and running at Charlotte.
All right, we've got answers coming in on that KMA TV chat. Go ahead and read that question to us one more time.
Okie dokie. So the question was, since it first opened in 1969, Talladega has produced 10 first-time Oh, jeez. I just screwed that up.
All righty. So Stephen
The answer was
Holmes,
10.
Stephen guessing 11.
Get it? Okay.
I'm going to assume the answer is not 11.
I'll give a new one. Let's see.
It happens. It happens. But good guess as Lee Staples and Edward Bray roll into pit row. Oh my goodness, we got lots of traffic in pit row. Kevin Scott Nelson in pit row as well. Edward Bray, Lee Staples, first and second place, heading into pit row on lap 77.
Okay. Here's the final question. Final question. Which team owner has the most Talladega wins?
There you go. All right, which team owner? Is this a multiple choice?
No. I'm not gonna that'd be too easy, Scott.
It would be. It would be. All right, Sean Molchek. Let's go on and get a running update as we have had Edward Bray, Lee Staples heading off into pit row. Looking at our running order, Sean Molchek, Travis Browder, Gary Whitmer Jr. still have yet to pit. Kevin Scott, Lee Staples, 12 seconds back. Well, Lee Staples at a pretty good spot right now. Gary Whitmer in third spot.
Now your leaders have all pitted. They pitted already, so they're good to go.
All righty.
John Molchek, Travis Browder, Gary Whitmer Jr., they all came in. Kevin Scott Nelson, Lee Staples, Edward Bray, they just pitted.
Very impressed with Gary Whitmer tonight. Travis Browder in pretty much his usual spot. But, I really got to give props out here to Gary because even Mom and Dad Whitmer, often claim Gary is that good driver in the wrong spot at the wrong time. And I don't know what Gary did differently tonight. I do know skill has a lot to do with it. But Gary Whitmer, I think Gary Whitmer could win this, but the question is, man, it's been a long time since I've taken home a top 5. Do you think Gary will go for that win or just settle for a podium?
Unfortunately, Scott, Gary's in a really bad position here.
He's got no pusher.
Not only does he not have a pusher, but if he tries to go to the outside, the number 51 is going to duck to the outside. He's going to watch his mirror the whole way here. He's going to duck to his outside, and he's going to pick him up, and he's going to use him to push him. So the only way that Gary Whitmer Jr. can really win this race right now is if he takes it 3 wide.
I disagree with you, and I'll tell you why. Let's talk about radio comms. Now, I'm looking at the radio channel. I have that privilege. And Travis Browder is not on communication with Gary or Sean. But Sean and Gary are on the same radio channel. So, if I were Sean, I would want to guarantee that win, knowing Travis is going to challenge me. So I'd be like, all right, Gary, let's work something out. Me and you, 1 and 2. I think Travis is a sitting duck by fault of radio comms.
Yes, but going back to what I was saying, Gary Whitmer this position right now can't win the race.
No, he's going to have to be given it by the number 15. But I think he can secure a position number 2 for sure. And when you're pushing the winner, that's just as good as winning that damn race.
It is. So I agree with you. I do think that he can get a second place finish out of it, but I just don't think that he can do anything more than that. He could try to lay back and he could get a run at the very last minute. If he times it properly, he lays back off of Travis, and when Travis goes to make his move, then Gary could potentially get that run like he is right now, and swing it to the outside at the very last second. Other than that, I agree with you. Second is probably the the way that it's going to be. But it's not over, and there could be a bumper hook, there could be a little tangle between the 15 and the 51, and Gary just dives underneath it and takes the win. So we'll just have to watch and see and watch it play out.
Working our way up from the rear of the field, Michael Johnson 3 laps down in position 14, flying solo. Joel Guy 2 laps down, flying solo. Chris Hogue flying solo as well, 1 lap down. Ed Hewitt solo as well. Kerry Allen Stewart sitting in 10th place in traffic. A good job for Kerry, but 1 lap down. Lee Staples.
I will say this, Scott. If I was in the race, and I have done this before, if I was in the race, I would, if I was Chris Hogue, I'm 1 lap down, I would slow down till I got behind the number 5.
You got to have some help out here for sure.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I would slow down until I got right there, and I'd be talking to him, and I'd be telling him, look, I am going to start dropping off the pace when you guys are getting within a couple, 5 seconds of me. I'm going to get back to it. I'll be at full song as you're passing me. If you want to pick me up, get me up to speed, I will push you back up to them. And then once I push you back up to them, we'll wait till the end, wait for Travis to make his move. They'll both lose speed, go 3 wide at the finish line, and I'll push you to the win.
Interesting situation right here with Edward Bray, Lee Staples, and Kevin Scott Nelson and Kerry Allen Stewart. Now, Kerry, 1 lap down. They're racing side by side. Now, there's a big argument within iRacing. Is it faster single file? Is it faster double file? But whatever that argument is, Kerry Allen Stewart right now, first driver, 1 lap down, looking for a top 10. His life right now is in the hands of these 3 lead lap drivers. They're 18 seconds back, but Kerry Allen Stewart very content with his position right now with 15 to go.
Okay, so you can ring the bell for Stephen Holmes.
Stephen Holmes, Hendrick Motorsports. All righty, Becky Whitmer opting for Richard Childress. A rare miss for Becky, but
Okay,
Stephen
Scott,
Holmes.
Here's the chance. Here's exactly what I was talking about. Chris Hogue is on the outside here. Let's see if he would be able to tuck in. Not looking like he's going to be able to.
He's
tuck in.
not going to hit it.
Now, if I was Gary, I think I'd roll it up a little bit and try to let Chris catch on to me.
Yeah, but he's not doing it though. Chris is way back there now.
Yep, too little, too late.
Sean Molchek, Travis Browder, Gary Whitmer, positions 1, 2, and 3. I'm still seeing Gary Whitmer getting a strong second. I'm seeing it happen. Good job, Stephen Holmes, guessing Hendrick Motorsports.
Oh, I can't tell you how bad I want to go get in the truck, Scott.
I know. I miss it.
No, I want to go get in that truck and push Gary Whitmer to the win tonight.
Travis Browder, I think, is a sitting duck. Quack, quack.
I think you're right, and unfortunately, without another truck, I think Gary Whitmer is going to be relegated to a second place finish when he's been up here so much lately. He due to circumstance tonight, he's got a fast truck. He's been good. He's been clean. He hasn't gotten himself into trouble. No pit road penalties, no speeding penalties, no penalties whatsoever. And he is don't get me wrong, third is a great finish, but it's due. He's due. So I'd love to see the 15 and the 51 mix it up and see what Gary does. Going to be an interesting finish here with just coming to 10 laps to go, looks like.
is still Fields sitting in fourth position. Now he is 5 seconds back, along with Everett Lane and Lynn McNeese. 5 seconds back, 11 to go. We're going to keep a very close eye on this driver comparison. Lynn McNeese right now 5.215 back. Not thinking that they're going to make up that 5-second differential with 11 to go.
I don't think so either, Scott. I was watching that previously, and I don't think it's gonna happen.
Well, and Lynn does not look like he's pushing that hard with his counterpart as they're going to go double file. But Gary Whitmer, he's doing everything he can to hang on to the rear end of Travis Browder.
That is the unfortunate part. He actually has to drive just as hard, if not harder, because Travis is sucked up to the back of that 15, and with no help from behind, the 5 really just can't take it easy. He's gotta be very aware of that gap.
Becky Whitmer saying, GW, I want my shirt. I want you to have a shirt there, Becky. Now, Ron, we've talked about Monday, Tuesday, and Friday in Charlotte. Talk to us about what we're going to be doing out here on Wednesday.
Wednesday, we go back to the short tracks. We'll be at Oxford Plains Speedway in the Legend cars. Could be a very entertaining race. Small track, small cars, fast cars. Going to be a good time. And then Thursday, we'll be back at Daytona in the Impala as usual, and I'm not sure if we're open room Thursday night or if it'll be a closed room, but always trying to find that talent.
Now, Oxford Plains, I don't believe KMA has ever broadcasted Oxford Plains or the Legends for that matter. So you're really bringing in a whole new opportunity for these drivers on Wednesdays.
Yes, on Wednesdays it's a different car every week, so it kind of levels the playing field a little bit in terms of, well, if you're really good in this car, but you're not very good in this car, and you're okay in this car, that's going to show. And not very many drivers are good in every single car that they get into, so that's one aspect of it. And then secondly, we're going to tracks that we've never, like you said, that KMA has never broadcasted from. So it really relies on the drivers to go out there and practice those tracks just at least a little bit before they go there. That way they're not in complete shell shock when they get there on Wednesday night. Now, this previous Wednesday night, I'm not sure if you caught the race. You were on chat there later on the race.
And I had a blast on it with Becky. Had a blast.
I thoroughly enjoy the racing on Wednesday night, the short track. I think it's growing. We went from a lower car count on the first Wednesday night to a little larger. I think we had a 11 or 12 car field, and I would expect that we'll probably see 11 to 12 or possibly even more this Wednesday night. I think it's going to continue to grow. I think the racing is spectacular. You see a few more cautions at the short tracks because it is short tracks. It's a lot of little bumping and banging, and it's just a lot of fun.
Alrighty, we are going double file with the race leaders and the lap traffic of the number 91 of Joel Guy. We've still got cameras locked onto Sean Molchek, Travis Browder, Gary Whitmer. Gary Whitmer being very patient, but I am telling you, I am really looking on Gary Whitmer getting that second place. We're going to run through this field one more time, starting back at 11th place. Edward Hewitt sitting 2 laps down in 11th place, flying solo. Kerry Allen Stewart still in that pack with Edward Bray, Lee Staples, Kevin Scott Nelson, Chris Hogue hanging on for dear life. Lynn McNeese sitting in 6th position, riding along with Everett, and is still 5.3. They're losing time. They are losing time on the front 3. They were at 5.0 last check. They're at 5.5 It's going to be Sean, Travis, and Gary. The question is, what order?
Well, and that's going to be the other thing, Scott. Travis probably knows exactly what you're saying. You know, you think he's the sitting duck in the middle, but Travis will not make a move until the last minute. And that probably will not give Gary an opportunity to get up there and push the 15. So unless Travis makes the move early, then I expect to see a drag race.
Well, Ron. Okay, now let's say you are Sean, and you want to get hooked up with Gary, but you got Travis on your tail. So if you move up, Travis is going to probably move with you. So you kind of got to be really selfish. But if you're really pulling for Gary, how can Sean help Gary out? What does he do?
There's nothing he can do. The race lies in Travis Browder's hands.
But he's got a counter move. He's either got to stay with Sean and secure that second, because if he drops out, I know Gary's going to go under him for sure. Gary's going to go with 15.
Correct. But if he does, or let's say that Gary goes with, if Gary goes with Travis, it's highly unlikely that Gary will push Travis far enough past the 15 that he would get the second place. So he would be better off dropping down, but Travis is probably not going to make that move until it's too late for Gary to be able to push him far. You know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
He's not going to pull the move on the backstretch, and if he does, he's kind of silly for doing it. But in my opinion, Travis is going to wait till they come off 4, and he's going to duck to the outside, and he's going to lay back to get the run on the 15 to do it. Going to use the 5 for help to get that run. Now Travis is going to duck to the outside, coming out of 4, have a run on the 15, and Gary's going to have to choose who he's going to go with. No matter who he goes with, he will not have time to push one or the other because of that short distance from turn 4 to the start-finish line. He won't have time to push one or the other, more than likely past the other one.
We're going to find out in 110 seconds. It is lap 98 of 102 to go. Sean Molchek, Travis Browder, Gary Whitmer, Becky Whitmer. Time to close my eyes. What a race. We're going to finish underneath green flag racing, I would hope. One caution out here tonight. 98 laps of green flag racing. Lap 9. Well, I'm speaking too soon, I'm presuming. But right now, Sean Molchek leading lap. He's led 50 laps tonight.
Alrighty, here we go. Last lap's coming up, Scott. If you're the 51, what are you doing?
You stay tucked up onto that number 15. I would settle for that second place, because if I go high, I know the number 5 is going to hook up with the 15. Travis can't.
Here it comes. Travis is laying back. This is exactly.
Oh, he is. He's laying it. Here he goes. Big bump.
Now the question is.
There goes Gary.
The question is, will Sean pull up or not?
Sean's got to pull up right now, and close that door on Browder. Browder trying to squeeze it. Browder going for it. And there goes Gary underneath the number 15. Or to the 15. He's to the 15. Travis Browder made a move. Will it pay off? Wow.
Now, did I call that correct or not?
All right, so we're looking at Sean Molchek, Travis Browder, and Gary Whitmer.
I told you this is what he was going to do. Travis intended to lay back and make his move off of turn 4, but Gary spoiled the plan.
All right, so we are looking at Gary in third, Travis in second, Sean in first. Do you concur?
I concur.
All right, let's get these drivers up here. How about it, Gary Whitmer? Have you got a copy?
I got you, Scott.
All right, talk to us about those last couple of laps, because I tell you what, brother, you caused a stir up here in the booth because we were pulling for you, but we know Travis was in a hard spot right there. And as soon as Travis went up, we saw Gary Whitmer go down underneath Sean Molchek. But you were only able to get third. Good job though. But talk to us about, was there a plan there? Was Travis the duck in the middle?
I think so. I was hoping for a move on the last lap, and then I seen a hole on my inside, and I took it, and I pushed on to the win.
All righty. Yeah, go ahead, Ron.
I kind of called it. I pretty much knew what Travis was going to have to do to try to make a run for the win. Unfortunately, I knew that you just didn't have any real help. If he had left the door open to the bottom side, that might have been a little different story. But congratulations on a third place finish. You were in a really tough position with nobody pushing you there. I was hoping that you might be able to pick somebody up, get them to push you. That would have made it a little bit more interesting. But you ended up finishing right where I thought you would. So congratulations on that. Great night for you. Was pulling for you, obviously. Great race.
Yep. Thanks, Ronald. Scott.
All right. Hey, you're looking really sharp out there in pad. I know you've actually met Mike Clenny, and you were probably one of his biggest fans. We're coming up on next Sunday, 1 week from tomorrow, about the pad race. Tell us real quick about PAD.
PAD is People Against Distracted Driving, which is a Nikki Clenny Foundation, put up to bring awareness of the dangers and deadly behind the wheel of texting and driving. Not only texting and driving, but any distraction behind the wheel.
All righty, and we've got Mom and Dad been out there rooting you all night long. Anything you want to say to Mom and Dad?
Yeah, love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Also the fans that are watching on YouTube as well.
All right, and a big shout out there to GW Graphics.
Yep, thanks, Scott.
Travis.
Hey, Scott. How are you?
Good. Tell them all about it, Ron.
Well, I saw what was more than likely going to happen. Scott and I were talking, kind of ran through the scenarios of what it was going to take and who was going to do what. Saw you on the backstretch, starting to drop back so you could make your run. Gary Whitmer picked up on what you were doing, decided to go to the outside, kind of forced your hand to change your strategy. So talk to me about what happened there on that backstretch and how you changed up your strategy.
Well, apparently I was pushing Sean, so I didn't have another teammate with me there in that lead, in the 3-truck group. It is Talladega. It's every man for himself. It's the last lap. You gotta do what you gotta do to try to hold on. And I knew it was coming, and I'm just like, I don't know if Gary's gonna go with me, or I don't know if the 15's gonna go with me, or he's gonna go with him. It's a tough decision. It really is a tough decision. But I was a sitting duck there at the end, because if I was running third, I wouldn't go anywhere. Because I didn't have nobody else behind me. But I like to say it was a great race, and we had one caution, I believe, and we had green flag pit stops. And I told Gary and Sean to stay out a little longer to try to make it on fuel, because I saw the second group where they were fading, because they were like 5 seconds back and they were like 8 seconds back. So we were 3 laps to the good to the end. So I tried to help them on strategy.
So is that what your strategy was, though? Were you backing off on the backstretch to get the run coming through 4?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because if you're the leader, I mean, it's a sitting duck, and you got to hold on, and it's just, as long as you have help, you got the win, and it's tough, but you just got to go do what you got to do.
Roger that.
All righty, very good job, Travis Browder. Talk to us real quick about the Beechcraft number 51.
This is a paint scheme that Kyle drove at Pocono today. This is for Kyle Busch Motorsports. It's one of the Kyle Busch's sponsors in the Camper World Truck Series. That I don't know if you saw the race today, but I did. A lot of fun to watch. So check out Kyle Busch in the Truck Series and every race as he runs.
All righty, will do. All righty, thank you, Travis.
Thanks, Scott. We'll go on to Charlotte and we'll get some practice there this week.
Yep. All right, but the man of the hour, Sean Molchek. Hey, Sean Molchek, you like Metallica because you are who the bell tolls for. Talk to us about your night, Sean.
Holy cow, it's finally, I've been longing to win one of these, and I finally got it, but I just wish my my buddies Everett and Estel, and they could have stuck with me, but I think they had a little mishap with a lap car. But luckily, Travis and Gary, they stuck with me, and it just kind of worked out for me, I guess.
Go ahead, Ron.
So, Mr. Sitting Duck, as I'm going to call you, you think because Travis didn't have the help that he was going to need is the reason that you won?
If you want to put it that way, I guess. I mean, I knew Gary was probably going to try to do something different, because, I mean, all three of us were just going to try to go for a win, I'm sure. But, I mean, I wasn't going to try to throw any kind of ridiculous block on Travis.
But were you comfortable knowing that you had Gary Whitmer as backup, I think, is what Ron's asking.
Yeah, it gave me a little bit of reassurance that, he would make it easier for me to hold off Travis, so.
Well, I'm not sure if you caught it in your rearview mirror, but I caught it up in the booth here. I saw Travis lay off in the backstretch. He was going to try to, get a huge run on you where he would literally just blow by you. But when he was trying to do that, Gary Whitmer decided that he was going to try to advance to the second place position at that point, pulled to the outside, which forced Travis to either speed up or you may have slowed down. I don't know that for sure. So from that vantage point, talk to me from there to the finish.
Well, when I saw Gary jump up there, I just kind of saw as an opportunity to maybe shut the door on Travis. So I did actually roll out just a little bit to maybe hopefully that Gary could stay on the outside, and then, if Travis still stuck behind me on his inside, that, Gary wouldn't have such a huge advantage down the front straightaway, and Travis could have stayed right behind me, and by the time he gets clear, it probably would have been too late.
Copy that, and it didn't work out that way. Gary lost a little bit of momentum. Travis jumped to the outside, and Gary Whitmer immediately jumped down to that inside. It dipped underneath of Travis and got to your back bumper and scooted you in front. Travis, I don't have the exact bolts pulled up right now, but right there it is by 0.058 seconds. So pretty close finish, but congratulations on pulling it off, because sitting up there in that position, that had to be one of the scarier moments in race, even though it's simulated racing, but in a racing situation where, you literally, there's only 3 cars, and if they decide that they're going to go, you can't really do anything about it.
Yeah, it's just nice because I've been in the position so many times that on super speedways, it just either I get wrecked towards the end or just get shuffled back, or just something just really silly happens and I end up getting, screwed over. But luckily it worked out for me this time.
Well, congratulations on the win tonight. Talk to us about that paint job on your truck, the University of Michigan and salt on the hood.
I'm a big Michigan fan for football. I'd pull for Illinois if they had a little bit better team, but
I'm from Illinois. Oh my goodness.
they're not
I
very
know,
good.
brother. I feel the pain.
But Michigan's been pretty well a powerhouse last couple of years, especially Hardball, signing on as their head coach. So hopefully the Big Ten takes over as the dominant conference again.
We'll copy that. Any shout outs before we let you go?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out, KMA, Pad, everybody that puts this on. It's just, it's a whole lot of fun when races turn out like this, only one caution and, green flag pit stops, and just a whole lot of fun.
Awesome job tonight, Sean Molchek, bringing her home. 98 laps, green flag. Good job, Sean.
Thank you, Scott.
Alrighty, Ron, we're looking at our race summary tonight. What a job the drivers did. Walk us out of here.
Very entertaining race. Would have been really cool to see Gary Whitmer have a dance partner. I think it really would have made a slightly different outcome to the race, but you got to play the hand that you're dealt, and I thought that Gary Whitmer did a fantastic job. Sean Molchik just absolutely pulled off, I don't want to say an improbable win, but being out there in first place, you kind of know that you're a sitting duck, and I guess due to the fact that Travis was really going to want to go for that win, it worked out in Sean's favor. So congratulations to all three of them, Sean Molchik, Travis Browder, and Gary Whitmer Jr. on spectacular finishes. No mistakes. That's the one thing tonight, with as many green flag laps that we ran, if you made a mistake, it was going to cost you. We saw that with many drivers. Those three didn't make any mistakes, and they got to sit up front because of it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am Scott Kolovic. He is Ronald Klein. Check us out on Monday in Xfinity on Charlotte. All right, had fun. No mistakes up here in the booth. Good job, Ronald.
Thanks again, Scott.
And we are out of here.